Books, books, I love books. I'm gonna read them all. Hi readers, Chris here. Today I'm doing a book unhaul. This is the fourth unhaul I've done this year, and it's actually the fourth unhaul I've ever done in my entire life. That's right, my entire life. I don't get rid of books until this year. So I'm at that point where I've gotten rid of all the books for the most part that I didn't like. So other than a few of these are actually books that I like that I'm unhauling. So I say this every time, but I really mean it this time. This is the hardest unhaul I've done so far. Before I jump into this unhaul, I just wanted to share really quick this bit of book mail that I got recently because it's so nice. It's so nice. This actually came from Pax Panic, and you can see on the cover here, she decorated the box with these cute little monster stickers. But I just wanted to share what she sent me real quick. First is this graphic novel, Monstrous, that I've been wanting to read forever. And when I said that on her video about it, she was like, hey, let me send it to you. So I will link that video and Pax's channel down below so you can find out more about what this is about. But that wasn't all she sent me. She also sent me this super cute little butterfly. It's actually a magnet, green. Whenever I see green, I automatically think of Pax. That's why I'm wearing green shirt today. And then she also sent me, and I'm going to try to show this without crying, but she made me a crocheted ferret. Oh my God, look how cute that is. If you've been following my channel a while, you know I have a bunch of furry little friends running around. We recently lost our oldest lady, Snowball. She was all white, and this ferret is all white, so it really makes me think of Snowball. So thank you, Pax, so much. So now let's jump into the books that I am unhauling, getting rid of, starting with this first one, which should be no surprise, and that is The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware. I just recently read this book a few months ago, and I didn't really like it. It started out well, but the big twist, it's like a murder mystery. The big twist I thought was not great. I thought it was corny. It didn't make any sense. I was not a big fan of the way this book ended. I'm never going to read it again. Honestly, this book makes me not want to read anything by Ruth Ware again, but I try to stay open-minded. So maybe someone can talk me into trying a different Ruth Ware book at some point, but this one I am definitely getting rid of. Next up is a book that hurts me a little bit, and that is going to be The Girl with the Louding Voice by Abi Dar, or Abi Dare, it might be pronounced. Sorry, I'm horrible with pronunciations, but I read this book back in, I forget if it was early 2020 or it might have been probably 2021. It was actually recommended to me by a fellow bookstagrammer at Kristen's Reading Reviews, and this book was something that's totally out of my normal fantasy comfort zone. It's like a contemporary book about a young girl growing up in a remote village in Nigeria and what happens to her. This book is amazing. It is so good. It's written in a way where it's written phonetically, so when you're reading it, you can almost hear that Nigerian accent in your head while you're reading it. It's a really great book. It's a really great story. It's written well. The characters are great. The plot is great. I really enjoyed everything about this book. So why am I getting rid of it? I just don't see myself revisiting it at any point. So again, this was a really hard decision, but I'm going to be unhauling The Girl with the Louding Voice. Next up, another book that was recommended to me by Seajar here on BookTube, and that is going to be Gregor the Overlander by Susan Collins. This is another book that I really enjoyed, and yes, Suzanne Collins, same lady who wrote The Hunger Games. This series, I feel like, definitely does not get as much attention as The Hunger Games, of course. I really enjoyed this book. I thought it was really cute. I don't see myself continuing with the rest of the series. Maybe if I found them for like really cheap somewhere, I'd probably pick them up. But it's still a really good book, and especially if you enjoy middle grade stories, if you have someone in your life that enjoys middle grade, I definitely recommend this book and this series. I had to make a hard choice. I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. I'm only 3 books in, and I already feel really bad about this video, but let's keep going. Next up, I have one that might be a bit of a shocker, and that's going to be Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. Oh my God, popular book. Why would I unhaul this? Well, I'm unhauling this because I have 2 copies. So I'm cheating a little bit. I actually have not read Ready Player One. I've never read this book. I definitely want to, but I definitely don't need 2 copies. So I need to make some room. I'm unhauling this copy. Next up on the chopping block is going to be this fantasy book, To Green Angel Tower, Part 1 by Tad Williams. So a little bit of context. I picked this book up at a flea market, or it might have been a book sale. I don't know. It was a really cheap book. It was like $1. I know Tad Williams writes a lot of fantasy. I've never read anything by him, so I was like, oh, okay, let me pick this up. I've never read it, and I don't see myself reading it. I've had this book for way too long. I feel like if I wanted to read it, I would have read it by now. I would have read it by now. So I don't have anything else by Tad Williams. This is part of a series. I don't have anything else in the series. And I don't know. Again, I had to make a cut somewhere. So this one is getting unhauled. Next up, I have a book that kind of hurts me, but also kind of doesn't hurt me, and that is going to be Cursed. This is by Thomas Wheeler, but it's illustrated by Frank Miller. And if you read comics at all, you're probably familiar with Frank Miller's work, his signature black and white style. I am a big fan of Frank Miller's artwork. In fact, the only reason I bought this book when it came out was because it was illustrated by Frank Miller. Unfortunately, despite the fact that the artwork is great, the story sucks. It sucks. It sucks so bad that the actual first rant video I ever did on Instagram was about Cursed. I think it still exists somewhere out on the internet, and if it does, I will link it in the description box below. But if you watch it, full disclosure, I had no idea what I was doing filming that type of video. So the aspect ratio, the sound, the quality of the video, it's complete garbage. But I still had fun ranting about this book, so hopefully someone out there will still have fun watching it, even if it's not really great quality. But this book isn't really great quality, so they kind of match. Now, even though I didn't like this book, I've held on to it because of the Frank Miller artwork. But again, I had to make a hard choice. I needed to make room for new books, so Cursed will be going away. Next up, I have another sci-fi book that was also a hard cut, and that's going to be The Martian by Andy Weir. I read The Martian last year, I think. I enjoyed it, but I also had some issues with it too. So it was a bit of a mixed bag for me. I feel like I didn't like it as much as I know a lot of other people do. I've heard that some of Andy Weir's other books are even better than The Martian. I definitely want to read more from him. I definitely do. Again, I just don't see myself going back to this one. I don't see myself going back to this one. So as much as I love having it on my shelf and as part of my collection, I have to make some room, so The Martian is getting unhauled. Last but not least, this brings me to my last 4 books that I'm unhauling, and I'm showing these together because they are all part of the same series, and that is The Ranger's Apprentice. The Ranger's Apprentice was recommended to me by one of my followers over on Bookstagram, like way back in the day when I first started taking recommendations. And it is a middle grade series. Again, it's a really cute series about a young guy. He's training to be this ranger where they kind of like go out and protect the kingdom. It's a very simple story, but then like the series, there's like a ton of books in the series. There's at least like, I want to say 10 or 12. It expands, there's wars, it's fighting, but it's all middle grade stuff. I only read book 1 and I enjoyed it. I thought it was really cute. I thought it's really good. Can definitely see why it's so popular among the younger crowd. And because I liked it, I ended up picking up 3 more because again, I found them at a library sale and they were cheap. They were only $1. But I've had them now for a couple years. I haven't read them. I don't see myself going back to this book. I feel like this is a series mostly meant for like middle grade boys, and not that anyone can't enjoy that type of thing. It's just I don't see myself going back to it. I don't see myself going back to it. I don't see myself rereading it, and I don't have anyone in my life right now that I think would enjoy this series. Otherwise, I would give it to them. So for that reason, unfortunately, I am saying goodbye to the Ranger's Apprentice. That is all for today's unhaul. Roscoe wanted to come say hi for a minute. Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? Okay, that's enough playing with Roscoe. Roscoe is definitely making himself right at home with the other babies. He doesn't quite get along with Jack yet, but he seems to be getting along with Meepers, so that's good. Anywho, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not already, please subscribe to my channel for more bookish stuff and maybe more furry friends coming your way soon. All right, everyone, happy reading.